What's happening, everybody? Excited about today. In a lot of cultures, and in our culture, it is Palm Sunday. We'll talk all about that. You're like, what does that mean? We just wave our hands in the air. We'll talk about it very shortly, but we promise you this, that we're going to help you if you think you have an attitude problem, or maybe one of your children have an attitude problem. We're going to give you said remedy, how to fix attitude issues or problems. So stay tuned as we're going to do that. Never alone. Always have my friends with me. I am joined today with the one and only Lily.
Hello.
Wiener.
Good morning.
How are you doing, Lily?
So good. It's a great day.
It's a great day.
It's a great day. Got some colorful pants on.
Yeah, she does. She's ready for it's like spring. Like check out those pants.
Well, based on that video that we just watched, if you watched the first video from the morning, it was snowing.
Yeah,
and that was this week. So I am bringing spring on one way or another.
Like literally, we filmed that on Thursday evening. By the time it was finished, there was snow on the ground everywhere. So it was yeah. If you're coming in from the bonk video and you're like bonk or Bali, you're like, what are we talking about? Because you love one wheel stuff, or you don't love one wheel stuff, and you're here for us talking about having an attitude adjustment and making life better. Are you tired and worn out? How do you get energy? Well, you're at the right spot. But we did a video on my channel where we were bonking and Baliing these things from a great company, which is the Electric Stoke. They were so much fun. We have so much to do to learn, but it was a blast, and it was snowing all through there. Lily, we're going to get Joey. Joey's calling in as we speak. We're going to get Joey in the house today via wherever he's at. I don't know where that guy's at. But
Joey, coming in.
Lily,
yes.
what was difficult about Baliing? You're Team Bali, right?
Yeah, I'm Team Bali.
Okay, so what was hard about it?
I would say that it was hard to gain momentum as I got toward the little rock thing, and then get high off the get air.
Get air, yeah, totally. Getting air was difficult. Now we got Joey in here. Joey, we're gonna make you go full screen. Hopefully we can hear you. Always, you never know with technology. Joey, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. Sorry,
we can't hear you, Joey.
I'm figuring it out.
How can't we hear you all of a sudden?
But I'm doing good. How are you guys?
Hopefully you online can hear him.
Can you hear us, JoJo?
Yes.
Oh, there we go. We got you. All right.
You got me?
We do. If we can put him split screen, that would be great, so everybody can still see us and see Joey. Joey, you bonked. You're Team Bonk, right? When it comes to the Bali bonk situation.
Absolutely, Team Bonk all the way. Bonk, bonk. You know what I'm saying? It just sounds like it's the trick, not Bali. I mean Ollie Bali, but I like bonk. I'm going bonk.
You're going bonk. Okay, so yesterday with Joey and a bunch of other people, we went downtown Minneapolis and we filmed our Easter special that we're going to drop next week.
It's going to be so fun.
And we were Team Bali and Team Bonk.
Yes.
And it was hilarious. We had to have 11 stops that you had to make throughout the city. We had to figure out how to charge our one wheels, all of this stuff. Joey, can you give us one highlight from yesterday?
Man, there was a lot of highlights, but let me tell you, downtown Minneapolis was beautiful, being by the Mississippi River, riding with friends. But I would say a highlight, was probably bonking, to be honest, in front of some cool places. I've never done a bonk. It was my first time bonking. And it was in the Easter race. And so I would say that's a highlight. And then just hanging out with some great people.
Yes, we can't wait to share the video with all of you online next week at 8 o'clock on my channel, where literally it is 4 hours of mayhem through the Twin Cities.
But it won't be 4 hours to watch.
No,
right?
no. It took us 4 hours to film it. Good call, though.
Yes.
And we took the great thing about these pocket rocks, we took them, pulled them out of our book bag, and we had to bonk in front of some monuments in the US Bank Stadium. You guys will be the judge if we're actually Baliing or bonking.
Yeah.
So, hey, a lot of people don't know who you're holding there, Joey. Who you got in your hands?
This is little Blake. This is my daughter.
Blake. Hi, Blake.
For those of you that don't know, that is Blake. And then we are doing we're having our second baby, and we're doing our little gender reveal this afternoon. So you all will find out if you follow me on Instagram.
On Instagram? Okay.
Later on.
Follow Joey. It's just Joey Sonnenfeld on.
Just Joey Sonnenfeld.
Like it is in the chat. Follow him on Instagram. You'll find out if they're having team boy, team girl. What do you think, Will? Guess.
Team girl.
I'm going team boy.
Team girl all the way.
Teen boy, Joey, I know you don't have a preference.
And this is
the life of having a child.
yeah.
Well, Joey, what are you going with, teen boy or teen girl? Before we let you go,
What am I going with?
yeah, what do you think you're having? Well, you already know, so that doesn't work.
I know.
Tell us.
Yeah,
you can't
guys.
tell. I forgot.
Joey.
Okay, Joey. Thank you for calling in, Joey. Have a great afternoon.
You as well.
Bye,
everybody.
Joey.
That was good to see Joey for a second. That dude's a good man.
He's a good man.
Good man.
That's so exciting. They're revealing again.
Yeah,
Woo!
they're catching
Baby
up with
number
Holly
2.
and I. My wife and I, we have 8 children. He's now going to have 2, so he's catching up. I feel the pressure. We might have to do something about that. We want to give a shout out to a lot of people in the chat before we move on today. We have some great music for you. We have great video that we're going to show a video here in a second that's going to do a summary, if you will, of what in the world is Palm Sunday if you're brand new to it or you've never heard it and you're just like, seriously, it is. If you heard Palm Sunday, Lil, right, you'd be like, what in the world is that?
Like for me, it's either like my mind sometimes goes to a palm branch and sometimes goes to this palm.
The hand.
So it's just like really confusing.
It is. So we're going to try to help you understand why in the world would we call it Palm Sunday and all of those details in a moment. So we're pretty amped about that. Secondly, we're going to give some hellos to Jeremy Shearer in the chat, which is cool to have him. We got Ryan Stothers in the house and in the chat. He's running sound for us today. We have Legend Mendenhall. That's my boy. He's sitting in there. We got Justin Lynn. We have, who else do we got in the chat today?
We got Mary Mendenhall. We got Big Survivor 88, Joey Sonnenfeld. It's good to have you all.
Dan Woodham. You know what, Dan? Either IG hasn't been kind to me this week, or I haven't really checked in as much this week. But I didn't see chicken pictures this week. Salads.
I don't think I saw anything either.
What did I must be? Did you not post this week, Dan? Because we're missing you, bro. We are missing Dan. Okay, so that said, let's get after it today. We're gonna jump into it. If you're brand new around here, subscribe to the channel. Your subscribing to the channel helps us continue to grow. It allows you to know when we're dropping videos, which might be great to turn on the bell notification. Because Friday we're gonna be live on Good Friday, and some of you are like, what's so good about this Friday? This is the catalyst for being a follower of Jesus this week. Because you have Palm Sunday, then you have Good Friday and Easter. All of this is the reason. This is the thing that makes the relationship with Jesus matter because of what takes place here. This is what separates Jesus from all other things and other religions, is that he died on the cross and rose again. And this week leads up to all of those things. And so Friday we'll be live. We are going live at 6 or 7:30, is it, Lil?
7 p.m. Central Time.
Central Time will be in here.
Yes, join us.
It'll be a cool moment to wind down the day. Obviously, if you don't catch it live, you can come back later and watch it. But we're pretty stoked about our Good Friday events on here. It's going to be, we're going to spend 20, 30 minutes having a good time. And then what we're going to do is throw questions out to be answered by you guys. So it's going to be super interactive. So we're really, really excited about it. You don't want to miss all the special things we have. We have a lot of things and people calling in, not things calling in, because that'd be weird. Like a dog calling in, that's not going to happen.
Dog calling in?
Yeah, that can't happen, right?
Oh, I don't think so, unless you're in the movie Secret Life of Pets.
Yeah, something like that. Correct. But we're pretty stoked on it. And we got MQT One Wheel, me, Zach. Zach, what's happening, man?
Zach is the one on Wednesday who was talking about Kanye West, and I just loved it. It was so fun.
Zach,
so
welcome.
Yes.
So glad to have you. Okay, so let's jump into what in the world is Palm Sunday. This is cool. If you're not a follower of Jesus, that's cool. Man, today we're going to talk about something that's going to help you. If you have ever had an attitude problem and it's ruined your life, your attitude towards maybe your spouse or your children or your coworker, or the attitude of I'm still single and I can't, why, and we're going to talk about what attitude we should have and how to get an attitude and how attitudes steer our lives. Because when we have bad attitudes, you know what it leads to? It leads to you tired and worn out. It does, because you have to fight through the attitude all the time, and sometimes we just give into that attitude. But and we're going to use the Palm Sunday story, which if you ever have opened up an old paperback version of the Bible and go to this portion, I think you can go to, I think it's Mark 11. which is a book in the Bible. Mark talks about this as the triumphal entry. What a big word that we don't use. I'm going to start using that when I win one races, Lil.
Cool.
That was my triumph. No, you don't like it?
Yeah, I like it.
You don't like it.
I'm gonna use it
You can when we team up
when
together.
I win.
Yes. We'll applaud that win right now because that's never gonna happen. Okay, let's get to an explanation of Palm Sunday in a condensed form. You're gonna love this. It's got a little bit of humor to it. It's gonna explain it in a way that hopefully makes sense, and then we're gonna jump into the topic today. We're pretty stoked on this. So here we go. Our best way of explaining Palm Sunday to you, right here. Enjoy. We'll be right back right after this.
Hey, Tommy and Eddie here to talk to you about something really great, Palm Sunday.
Yeah, that's the Sunday that we paint our palms purple to commemorate King Saul talking to that palm reader lady, and then we wave them in the air.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
No, it's
yes,
not.
it is.
No.
What Bible do you read?
Palm Sunday commemorates the triumphal entry of Jesus into Jerusalem. Now picture this. Jesus rode in on a donkey while the crowds put their cloaks and palm branches all over the ground, shouting, "Hosanna to the Son of David."
That's what I said. That's what I meant.
Okay, now picture this. Jesus' popularity was going viral. I mean, he just raised Lazarus from the dead in the same community just a few days earlier.
Wait, post-dead Lazarus was maybe at the very first Palm Sunday?
Yeah, probably.
That's so cool. I bet if he was there, he was probably like, "And you're a thriller, Jesus. You raised me from the dead when you said, get up, get up, get up, ooh."
Now, to complete all of this, Jesus needed a donkey. Now, you'd think that a king or a prince would ride in on a horse, but not Jesus. He knew the message that he wanted to send. You see, a donkey represents peace. Anybody riding a donkey represented peaceful intentions.
Yeah, it says right here in Matthew 21, it says that Jesus sent 2 of his disciples to get him a donkey.
Yeah.
Hey, I wonder which 2 he sent.
Maybe Thomas.
I doubt it. I bet he sent Andrew. Andrew would totally do that. And probably Tony. I bet he said Andrew and Tony.
Tony's not a disciple.
Oh, sorry. Tony is.
Still not a disciple.
What translation of the Bible do you read?
Jesus needed a donkey, so he asked 2 disciples to go get him a donkey. He told them they would find one in town, tied there next to a colt.
Yeah. And then he says, untie them and bring them to me. And if somebody asks you about it, you tell them the Lord needs them? Jeez.
Yeah, what?
Well, Jesus just told his disciples to go steal a donkey for him.
What Bible do you read? It doesn't say that at all.
I can't figure this out. I mean, Jesus, he changed water into wine. Cool. He fed the 4,000.
He fed
right?
the 5,000.
What?
He fed the 5,000.
Doesn't matter.
It does matter, not the 4th. It's the 5,000.
We're splitting hairs. I'm sorry. Jesus fed a large group of people, and that's cool. He healed people with leprosy. He raises Lazarus from the dead, and then boom, he's like, "Hey guys, go steal me a donkey." I'm just saying, I don't think that's very WWJD.
The significance of Jesus riding on a donkey, which he did not steal, was to fulfill the prophecy that is found in Zechariah 9:9.
Yeah, but
And the king riding in on a lowly donkey with his way paved with palm branches. The palm branches symbolize triumph or victory.
the what?
The palm branches.
The branch.
Palm branches, Palm Sunday.
I thought it was the palm. They should call it Branch Sunday because that's confusing. We all have palms with us all the time. I feel bad. I'm sorry, Palm Sunday.
Palm Sunday is a time for us to prepare our hearts for the agony of his passion and the joy of his resurrection. So this week, let's cover the road to the cross with our hearts, our souls, and our minds as we reflect on the final week of Jesus' life.
And let's celebrate in anticipation the return of the King of Kings.
I hope that makes complete sense. Like, it's a great way of packaging the whole thing, if you will. That's why today we love beginning to celebrate a week of not the death, but the resurrection, the life of Jesus, that he came back to life. Now, I know this is the thing that people like. If you're on the fence about Jesus, you're like, oh, I can't believe that. Here's what I want you to do. Is I want you to, and we've been using this phrase in a while because it's just a truthful phrase, don't have willful blindness that you've never researched So you actually don't know. It's just, it might be something hard for you to understand, but you haven't done any research to begin to understand it. So move from willful blindness to, okay, I'm going to do some research. And maybe that is hanging out here every week. And maybe we say something that points to the reality and the truth of who Jesus is. It doesn't, we say this a lot, and I like reviewing this sometimes, it doesn't take faith to become a follower of Jesus or to believe in that. The faith comes in after the facts. You gather the facts, then you jump into this relationship of now faith is that Jesus is going to do what he said he was going to do, that God's going to show up and show off. Lily, have you ever heard this phrase? Life is 10% what happens to you and what? Can you finish it?
90% how you react.
Do we, in the chat, do you think that's a true statement? Is it legitimately, like you hear it all the time, 10% what happens to you and 90% how you react? So it's not that bad. Like, it's really up to me to choose how bad the situation is. So it's only 10%. Lily, do you think that is like true? Or do you really do?
Yes.
Why do you say that so confidently?
What?
Why do you say it so confidently? Because I feel like that can't be true.
Are you serious?
Well, I just wanna poke the bear a little bit. No, I want to poke the bear on it. Like
you're saying 10% of what happened, 90%. I think it's accurate.
You do. Can you? But like, I need more than just you telling me it's accurate. In the chat, as you guys are all dreaming of going up to the Upper Peninsula.
You had issues with that when we filmed.
I did, man.
Yeah.
That's a tough word for me.
It's okay.
Yeah.
You don't have to say it at all.
Upper
today.
Michigan, which is beautiful. The Mackinac Bridge, spectacular.
Yeah,
the
amazing.
Water of the Hudson and Michigan merging together, wonderful. Whew, so beautiful up there. And then Lake Superior, if you go up just a little bit further, your Lake Superior side of the lake versus our side of the lake is night and day difference. If you knew that, if you didn't, now you know. It's our side is all rocky. Like literally, people go up there to get rocks for their gardens and stuff because it's like these very smooth rocks. You had all kinds of sand on your side of Lake Superior, which is wild. Okay, so back to this 10% what happens to you, 90% how you react. I'm trying to figure out this idea because that means I'm responsible more for my attitude than things happening to me if that's a true statement, right, Lil?
Yes. You made me question for a second, but I am not questioning it anymore. It is true.
I mean, I think it's a made-up statistic. I really do.
That's fine, but yeah, even Mark is like, Lily, he's testing your 90%. That's good. No,
Mark.
For sure. No, for sure. I know.
You know. Okay. So I need a for instance. I need a for instance. Yeah, it's our choice to in the reaction of it. If it's 90% of my bad day is my fault then.
Yes.
So 10% of what happened is how I react to it, right? That's what you're setting me up with.
Yes.
Okay. I need meat to this now. So like if this is the rib cage and the bones, give me the meat to it.
It's literally like the whole saying, like you woke up on the wrong side of the bed this morning. You wake up and you don't feel good or something bad happens, and then you let it dictate your day, and then all day long people are saying to you, you woke up on the wrong side of the bed, didn't you? Because they're, if someone's saying that to you, you're probably not being very pleasant.
Okay. I'm going to start using that when you walk in the office, and you can use it for me.
The new one is someone woke up and chose violence today. That's the new one.
What? No one.
I'm serious.
I get it, but like no one violence. Like
yeah, but violence is in this respect is a loose term.
Yeah.
But I'm just keeping you with it. With
okay.
The bucket hat.
Yeah. Okay. So I like what MQT said. I think it's true. We can never stop adversity, and adversity isn't inherently bad.
I agree with that.
But we have to deal with it in strides.
That's good.
Okay, I think that's great. So how do we do this though? How do we do it? Because if it's I'm actually in control of more things than I think, how do we not give into the bad day? The things just aren't going my way. The adversity. How do we not deal with that? Like what can we do? As Ryan's going to jump in on the discussion, he's going to be on the other side of the room, so that we have. You could have only seen what just took place in the studio.
No, Scott was
went,
like, Ryan's
me?
gonna jump in,
Me?
and that was like the obvious cue for Ryan to start moving from the tech table to Joey's table, and he was like, me? You want me?
Who, me? Ryan, how are you doing today, man?
I'm doing very well. I'm doing super, super well.
You can pull that microphone up too a little bit.
Hey,
so.
Ryan.
Okay.
So for many of you, like, you know his name in the chat, Ryan Stothers with the orange logo, but this is him.
This is
This is
Ryan.
In
him.
the
He's
flesh.
in some of our videos. He'll be in next week's Easter video.
And he wanted
Yay!
he wanted to have it, you know, like you gotta have stuff on your desk. He's starting a book club and a yeah. But you need something better than the microphone to prop it up, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't have anything here that's sturdy enough, honestly.
Well, I get it. I understand. We weren't prepared for books. Like trinkets, we got. Books, we don't have. But if you're gonna do books, bro, you got to get something sweet that holds them together. Like that's what I'm expecting next time you're on camera with the bookends. Something that's really rad.
Oh, I love bookends.
Yeah, that's
Like,
what
they
he
make
needs.
I
really
don't think
cool
I own a
bookends.
bookend. I'll have to go ahead and
That'd be a
look
great
into
wedding
some
gift. I'm gonna get you
fantastic
bookends. That's what I'm gonna get you for your wedding. Bookends.
Mental note.
Yeah,
Mental
mental note. When that happens in the far, 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 far.
Just in general. Well, he's
Okay.
just in general.
Okay, so here Ryan's in here. Ryan, as we've been talking about this attitude and adversity and stuff. So when we're talking about managing then the adversity, is that? Do you agree? Do you subscribe to this thought that it's 90% how you react to all of this given stuff?
I would 100%. I agree with that.
100%.
100%. I agree with the 90%.
Are you
Okay.
gonna question his sureness because that's what you did to me?
Well, I did in my question there. I was like,
100%.
100%. Are you kidding me? Okay, so 100% you agree.
Correct.
Why is that?
There's just so much when it comes to attitude, and I feel like attitude often is a bleed out of what's happening in our mind. And if we are practicing the discipline and we're practicing the mindset of happiness in our mind, then hopefully we're bleeding out like good emotions, not the negative ones.
Okay, so now, okay, I hear what both of you are saying, but now how do we do this? Like, this is like the cool way to say it, and you guys are all probably right. But like when I hear it, especially somebody that has struggled with an attitude, how in the world do you move the dial up? Like you get better? Like how do I control my attitude? Like that's what somebody's asking. Like how do I not act negatively when somebody cuts me off? How do I not give the middle finger to somebody that really upsets me? How do I not type with my fingers in Facebook or a Reddit post or wherever and just drop and spew nastiness to somebody that was nasty to me? How do we even move the dial a little? And same with those that are online. How do you do this? Like, how would you teach somebody this? Because I think this is the sexy saying. It's 10% what happens to you, 90% how you react. I think that sounds good. It's a great poster to have. It's a great reminder. But the application of this is where I kind of think people get lost in the translation of this. So great. It's great goal. But if you don't have a way to get there, how do you get in there, Lil?
Well, I think it starts with self-awareness. I think you need to be aware of what makes you tick and will set you off. If you're someone who struggles with anger, you get angry faster, you need to know that about yourself. And then the second part of it is putting in action, like to make a quick change. I put in the chat, like one of the things I love is like leave the room, like just walk out of the door, come back in. It sometimes takes something physical. There have been times in the office I work with Scott throughout the week, and there have been times where I've been struggling, like, and it might not be with anger, but it might be something emotionally or mentally. He's like, go on a 1-mile ride, like, or go on a walk. So having that physical thing, but I do think it goes back to self-awareness. I think being aware of what makes you angry is important, and a lot of that has to do with being present. So if you're not present in your like actual like second and moment, then how can you be self-aware?
Okay, I think self-aware works, but how do I, like, let's ask this question, because you just brought up anger. So is being angry, because that usually is the trigger or starting point for our bad day. Joey wrote in the chat, he's like, yeah, I a lot of times let my bad day affect my other relationships. Let's be honest, like, if your boss walks in and you're mad at them, you don't take it out on your boss. It's whoever's below you or closest to you. It's like, why are we more disrespectful to those that we love and care about more than the people we don't? Why is that?
That's a good question.
Like, where does that come from? Why do we find that so easy to do? We'd love to hear your thoughts in the chat. Why is it so easy? And maybe this is one of those mysteries about human nature that we're okay with hurting those that we're the closest with and taking out our anger. And so where is anger? Let me just get back. Is being angry wrong? Is it bad to be angry? Ryan, what do you know about that? And then Stephen, can we mute the bump all together on the main feed? What do you think? Is to be angry bad?
No, I think that anger could be a quick journey to sin. However, we see that anger isn't necessarily bad when Jesus gets angry at the Pharisees and the people that are turning his father's temple into like a marketplace for selling goods to, for sacrifice.
Yes, I think that's okay. So to be angry isn't bad. Thank you, Stephen, for doing that. But what makes it? Where does anger become bad?
I would say anger becomes bad when I have given the reins over to the anger and I'm letting the anger direct me. I'm not taking that pause, right? That anger and then immediate action, or anger, the pause, the discernship, think of the perspective of the other individual that's involved in the anger. Go ahead and just have that moment of reflection of the bird's eye view of the scenario to make a wise decision instead of an emotional decision.
Okay, so I want to read a couple verses. This informs us. This is, again, especially on this channel, this is where we inform our reactions and responses, okay? And so you might not be there quite yet, and that's okay. We give you permission to figure it out. Now, would I implore you? I don't use that word in my normal everyday talk, but there you have it. I would encourage you to step in the direction of moving there faster, because your life's going to be better and you're going to be better at life, because I think the temper flaring up and then us behaving attached to the anger detonates our entire life and our plans and our dreams, and then we blame it on somebody else. Like right now, with our 8 children, the top 6, they're of age where they blame everything on somebody else. Their bad attitude is really their siblings' fault. Or when we were a couple weeks ago playing ice hockey and somebody was in the vicinity of somebody that fell, well, they made me fall. And I'm like, they didn't even touch you. And I was like, no, your issue is not somebody else's problem, but their anger was looking. Here's the danger with us staying in anger too long, is in order to justify our anger, we're looking for someone to place the reason why we're angry. It can't be, I lost control of my attitude. I lost control of my thinking. It's their problem, their fault. I mean, we live in that culture. So let me read from the author of King Solomon, which was one of King David's kids. King David was the second king of Israel. Some cool facts about King David. Second king of Israel. He had a son with Bathsheba named Solomon. Solomon was asked, what would you like? You can have anything. He says, I would like wisdom. God says, because you asked for wisdom and not wealth, I'll give you both. And then as we read through the authors in the Bible, they talk about how King Solomon was the wisest man to live. That's how we know he's pretty wise. We're going to pay attention to his words. He was a studier of human nature, which is important to know. He studied people. And he writes, and I think this is important as well for us to know, he writes that there's nothing new under the sun. When I was younger, I would hear people say that, and then I would think they mean there's nothing new under the sun, which means the Apple iPhone has already been built, which is not true. He's saying there's nothing new under the sun of the way people behave. And so listen, this is in Proverbs 19. No, I'll go to Proverbs 15:1. So we're not going to have it on the screen. You're going to have to do your job to write this down. Proverbs 15:1. He says this, a gentle answer turns away wrath, but a harsh word stirs up anger. Okay, like It's pretty self-explanatory, but if you need us, we will break it down so you understand. It's giving you what I love how King Solomon does. He contrasts the both. He contrasts the if you respond, which is slow, versus reaction, and he gives you what happens. If you respond, that's a gentle answer. That means, as Ryan just said a moment ago, you took time. There's space between what took place. Like Lily said, she goes on a one-wheel ride. I thought maybe she was going to allude to that she was angry at me at times. Like, what?
No. I mean, it's happened.
It's it has.
No.
But space allows you to respond to the moment. But when you react, that means a quick turnaround, like a quick one-liner. A harsh word stirs up anger, which then you invoke anger from the other person. And two angry people is super messy. I mean, it complicates your life so fast. Think about all the political conversations you've heard of, because I know none of you have been in those conversations. You've only heard of a situation where people are on one side of a topic and another, and they're both behaving angrily, and all of a sudden it's an explosion of just words. They clash, and it becomes a raging fire. It's out of control. The only way to put out the fire is to have a gentle response, to remember that 10% of them saying, based on the saying, 10% of what they're saying to you is the problem. 90% is how you perceive it, take it in, calculate it all, and then react to. It would be the equivalent of putting gasoline on a fire. Lily, have you ever done that?
Yeah.
You have? You put gasoline on a fire before?
No.
Wait, you said yeah.
I don't know. I've been around fires where people have put stuff on it that make it bigger. Yeah, we've started fires with gas. Ryan, we've started fires with gas, haven't we?
Absolutely.
Yeah, okay.
And what happens when you do said
Gets
things?
bigger.
Well, it gets bigger, and if you don't do it carefully, it will blow up in your face.
Yes. Okay, so
So that's why I was never the one to do it. I was always the one to watch.
Yeah.
From afar.
okay, so I've seen it. I've done it. I've actually singed my eyebrows off. Seriously, put in the comments if you've done this. You've singed your eyebrows off. You know it to be true.
No, never.
Yeah. You know, you've seen, you haven't, but I'm sure people in the chat have. But you singe your eyebrows off if you do it wrong. But why? Because the gasoline makes an explosion. It ignites the fire. It very rapidly gets out of control. That's why you singe your hair. Because it's like, whoa, I didn't see that coming. So does a harsh word. So does a quick reaction. To respond is a slow, calculated statement. And it's like putting water on a fire, which dilutes it. It brings it down. I love what King Solomon goes on in Proverbs 15:8. So 18, it's in the same conversation we were just saying, it's just later on. And again, maybe some of you are like, why is the Bible wrote so differently than when I read books? Like they don't have you don't read Tale of Three Kings, page 36. Verse 4. The reason that this is so people can follow along in a group setting so you can go find it, because it would be really weird if it was like, okay, in your Bible, turn to page 354, count down 26 lines, and we're going to start there, right? It's much easier. So it's just broken down for an easier way to be able to talk, have conversations on. So when I say Proverbs 15, it's the chapter. Verse 1 is just the line, really, the thought. Thought number 18, if you will. A hot-tempered person stirs up conflict, but the one who is patient calms quarrels. Hey, how in the world? These are so amazing goals. These are great goals. How in the world do we get there? What are action items for us to control our temper? Being angry is not wrong. It's what we do. If we act in anger, that's a problem. Oftentimes, the things that make us angry are like the Idiotites in our life that we realize there's a problem. Injustice is happening. Someone is out of line in their behavior and they're hurting someone. So anger usually, unless it's all selfish based, somewhere injustice is happening, so you get angry. And then when we behave in that, we cause the problem. So a hot-tempered person stirs up conflict, makes a problem. But the one who is patient calms a quarrel. So how do we move from reacting in our anger and being calm with patience? Ryan, what's the journey look like in this? For somebody that's sitting in the chat right now going, okay, yeah, this is for me. I struggle with my temper. What are things that we now know where the bullseye is, but how do we get there, Ryan?
Gosh. So I guess if we go back to that process, you get angry, whatever the subject is, and you have space between you and the emotion, and then there's a moment of possibly, depending on if you're a person, if it's politics, maybe not. Like if it's a person, you can look at the other, you could try and look at it from the other person's perspective, and just, I don't know, realize that you're not the most important person, and that there's other things going on, and make sure that you're not looking at it from the perspective of me.
Okay. You change perspective, you're saying.
In a longer way.
In a longer way, change your perspective. Which, again, I think the danger for all of us is that we say, we answer one-liners with one-liners. Change your perspective. Okay, good. Sounds so good. But what are the steps to do? What's the shift? How do I change my mindset? How do I do those things? I love. Remind me to not forget about Ephesians, what Paul writes about anger, because it's a great moment. Lily, do you have maybe take it from what you've done in your life of what God's worked on you on something else? Maybe you haven't had an anger issue, but in the other areas in your life, I had problems. What did you do to move from the wrong side of the coin to the right side of the coin? What are some steps people can do with their anger to move from losing their tempers, saying things, being disrespectful to people, to moving to being slow to anger, slow to react out of anger? Do you have anything, or is this a very complicated topic?
No, I do. I have lots of things. Well, for one, it has taken. I have lots of things. I have selfishness. I spent a whole year still working on it. But what I do is I surround myself with people who can point out, hey, I see this in you, and it doesn't look like Jesus, and it hurts other people. It even hurts yourself. So you should do something about it. You should make changes to do that. Okay, so I have people around me. Next thing is I recognize it. I have to be humble, because it's never fun hearing something that you have to change about that you should change about yourself. So it takes humility.
Okay, well, let's pause there.
Okay,
I like that one. I like the teachability, humility. That does actually probably inform the first statement you said, because to have someone in your life pointing out that, hey, you got a booger hanging out your nose, like, hey, your anger, you just lost it. If you're not careful, if you're not working on your humility, then you're just going to get angry at that individual. Like, let me go. So, what is to be humble? What Lily, look it up in the actual dictionary what humility is, because I think what we're actually talking about is different than the Webster dictionary. But Ryan, humility, okay, I like that, being teachable. How would you define being humble?
I would define being humble as lifting other people up above myself.
Okay.
I don't know. It could be humbling. I'm trying to think of an example of I don't know, just lifting people up. You could have all kinds of goals for yourself, but maybe at a cost of that, right? Like lifting that other person. Maybe that other person gets that goal, because we don't want to go through life as like we are the absolute main character. There's many other people we can benefit along the way, and they're also really important.
Okay, so it's valuing other people's opinions and life as a whole will help keep you humble. Lily, do we have a working definition of humility? Good to see Kayla Lily in the chat this morning. See you in there. Make sure, for you guys online, what would you define? What is your working definition? The reason we say working definition, meaning there's wiggle room that, hey, I'm going to learn. I'm going to learn a little bit on this topic, and maybe I'll change it. But how would you describe humility? It's not something we use. I did once get an award for being humble, and then I wore it, and they took it away from me.
Is that a joke? That was a joke.
Why would it be a joke?
That is a joke that you either made up or heard and thought it was funny. That's not true.
Why? Yeah, for sure.
Is that true?
No.
Yes, okay, I knew it. I've never heard you say that.
Do you not get the joke?
I get the joke.
What's the joke?
Because you weren't humble.
Because I wore the award.
You wore the award.
Yeah, there you go.
Actually, I loved that. Okay, so humility is...
Ryan didn't even crack a smile at it.
I did that laugh where it's like,
Yeah,
I just put Sarah.
that's not a laugh. That's a
And I'm
snuff.
over here like belly laughing.
That's a snuff. That's not like I see. That was like if you're paying attention, you're like, oh, I see what you did there. It should be a nod of like respect.
Oh my gosh.
That's what it should be. This. It should be this right here. Like you missed it on the camera. It should be. I see you.
No, you're not getting a tilt. Okay, good thing we're working on humility here. Okay, it's a modest or low view of one's own importance.
Ooh, that just sounds.
It sounds like I don't want that.
No, that sounds like why would I? It sounds degrading.
It
in
sounds
a sense.
a little bit degrading.
So I don't like that definition. I think that's why we don't use it in our culture. This idea of being humble is like say it again, a what? Degrading?
Modest or low view.
A low view.
Which you should have a low view of yourself, but it does go toward what Ryan is saying of one's own importance. Like for me, I needed to recognize like it's not all about you, and so for Ryan, I think he makes a good point. Like you're not the most important person in the world.
Yeah, Joey
Let's
wrote that in the
recognize
chat as well, that I'm not the main character of the story, which I think is
Yes, I
always
like
good.
that a lot.
That's perspective change. I think Dan says something very strong in it as well, where he's saying, no, pray. The more I talk with God, then like that's where my strength comes from. That's where my helper is. And so the conversation is with God. Okay, I want to work on my anger. And again, we're not trying to make anyone feel guilty if you recognize, oh, this is a problem for me. But it is seasons in life. There are times that my temper is totally fine. And then there's seasons in my life, why am I struggling with this? It's just the thing in my life that God's like, nope, this is what we're dealing with today. This temper bit. And this next piece from Paul on this. Now, this will help you with anger if this is, again, the target when dealing with your anger, because throughout the day, you lose your temper, you say something wrong with people, to people, and then you're still angry at them. This is what Paul writes in Ephesians chapter 4, verse 26. In your anger, do not sin, he says. Okay, so if we behave in anger, it leads to sin. Sin is missing the mark. It's not the goal. Do not let the sun go down while you are still angry. So if you find yourself angry at someone, they deserve a phone call, a text to apologize, to let go of it. And this isn't like if I'm angry at Ryan for whatever maybe I'm angry for the snuff instead of a laugh, right? I'm angry at it. He doesn't know it, but I am. And it just eats me the rest of the day. And I lay down on my pillow and I go, I can't believe they didn't laugh. He snuffed my joke. And then I'm laying in bed. You know what I need to do? I need to get up, go text him, call him, and say, hey, you know what, man? This might not have bothered you. It bothers. I need to just say, I forgive you. I don't need you to forgive me. I've been angry with you all day. Because here's the danger. You go to bed angry, and you wake up tomorrow, and you kind of forget why you're angry at the individual. You just know you're angry at them. So then you treat them differently. You speak condescendingly to them. You hope they secretly fail. But you don't know why. And then 3, 4, 5 days removed, and that relationship is falling apart. And Ryan doesn't know. I can't remember. I just know I'm mad at him, and it turns into bitterness, turns into malice, and it's just this gross thing, and then you lose a friend. This is where Paul's trying to help us understand. Listen, don't go to bed angry. It's not good for you. Remember, we talk about Jesus makes your life better. It makes you better at life. These are the better at life pieces. This is what, like, oh, I got to sort this out. I need to apply this. The application needs to happen to this. Now, why in the world would we do this? Like, people have been we're talking about attitude. Paul writes in Philippians 2:5, which we do have this verse. We can get it on the screen for you. In your relationships with one another, have the same mindset as Christ Jesus. That's the first line right there at the beginning. Within your relationships with one another, same mindset as Christ Jesus. Okay, so the question is, what's that mindset? How would you break it down, Lily, in the mindset conversation? How would you break it down?
I guess I would say, like, if you're having the same mindset, then it should look like Jesus. And if you don't know Jesus, that's okay. But he is, in short, a gentle, kind,
Wait, he's
thoughtful,
short?
In short.
Oh.
No.
I've
Because
just-
how can I explain how Jesus is, what he's like in a small moment? But, you know, he is love. The Bible says he is love.
Yes, I like that answer. But that's like If somebody asks any question about the Bible,
Right,
it's
Jesus.
Jesus or
But to
love.
have the same mindset is of those things, and to
But
have
explain it to me. Explain the mindset of Christ Jesus. What is that mindset?
he thinks of others before himself.
Ooh, now we got some traction. He thinks of others. Okay, that's a good thing. What else? Like, look at this week's perspective, Lil, in what Jesus has done this week, as the triumphal entry is happening, where he's riding in to really his death. What can we learn of his mindset? And again, I think you said it. He thinks of others, but more than that, what else is the mindset, or is that it? Is that the mindset that feeds everything else?
I'm thinking. No.
Okay.
I'm thinking about this week. If you're speaking of this week, it was sacrifice.
Okay.
Like this, in short, one word is sacrifice. So
Thinking of others, sacrifice, love. Those are your three. Okay, how about you, Ryan? The mindset of Jesus. Again, this is Paul writing. Remember, I'll read it again for you. Okay? Paul writes in Philippians to a church in Philippi 2:5. In your relationships, all relationships, not just ones you like, all of them, with one another, have the same mindset as Christ Jesus.
Yeah, I would look at that mindset being Jesus didn't have to like the people that were killing him, but he died for them regardless. Like,
Okay.
people that you could be angry with. Like, I don't know, if you put it on a much smaller Ryan scale, what would I do for somebody that I perceive as doing wrong to me anyways? That's kind of like where my mind's going with it.
Now, then there, that is I'm putting my water bottle down. Sorry, you're like, what is that guy doing? I'm not stretching, not doing yoga. Okay, so that's a tough one. Like, the person that made you angry, would you give money to them in that moment? The person that wronged you, took something from you, hurt someone you loved, would you give them a ride home? Would you? What's that step for you? Now, I want to continue reading from Philippians 2:5. Here we go. Now we're going to the next line down, okay? Who, being in very nature God, did not consider equal with God something to be used to his advantage. So, he's not. Let me explain that. Jesus isn't going, I got the upper hand here. I have the upper hand in that I can leverage my supernatural being and shoot lasers out my fingers or bolt of lightnings out my eyes and zap the people that are abusing me. He did not use that as an advantage. He then, this is where we get, this is the great illustration of humility. Not powering up because you can. Just because you're stronger than someone doesn't mean you can conquer someone. Just because you can do it doesn't mean you should do it. We know that for other people, but when it comes to us, we are the kings and queens of justification why we did what we did. If I don't look out for me, who's going to look out for me? That's the rub. That's the problem. Okay, so continuing on in Philippians 2:5, rather he made himself nothing, oh boy, to take on the nature of a servant, being made in human likeness. And being found in the appearance as man, he humbled himself by becoming obedient to death, even death on the cross. Therefore, God exalted him to the highest place and gave him the name that is above every name. Okay, now why would we work on all this stuff? And the aha moment was right there at the end. If you missed it, I'm going to dial it in for you. We're going to make it very apparent. When Jesus chose, because he had a choice to be powering up or powering down, you and I are always given those opportunities in every fight, every situation. Someone cuts you off, someone steals from you, someone puts down your wife, your children. You can power up or you can power down. And we see here where Jesus, especially in this week, in light of the events that transpire over 2,000 years ago, where Jesus powers down, he doesn't power up. And then here it is. Therefore, God exalted him. That's in Philippians chapter 2, verse 9. Therefore, it's right at the end there. God exalted him to the highest place and gave him the name that is above all every name. Now, I don't think that the second part is necessarily a guarantee for us. I think that's already been done. The highest name is taken. It's not like we can one-up Jesus here. But I do believe, therefore, God exalted him. God will exalt you. Exalting would be a term that you probably don't use in Western culture very much. Blessed, or a slang term would hook you up. Whatever you want to say would make it very easy for you to understand. Therefore, God exalted him. God propped him up. I would rather be propped up by God than by my abilities, or because it's fleeting. It's my opinion, which I think everyone has two opinions like two armpits, and they both stink just like armpits do. So just take that for a grain of salt. My two opinions I got on every topic, they kind of are stinky. And so that I'd rather be exalted. I'd rather be propped up, lift up. I'd rather be placed in a spot in life by God and not by me. So then, if we go backwards in Philippians, now Paul says this, whatever happens, I love this, where Paul's trying to, he goes, listen, I'm gonna condense this, but I'm going to make it really broad. Whatever happens, conduct yourself in a manner worthy of the gospel of Christ. What they're saying there is conduct yourself in a manner worthy of Christ is that, okay, if you call yourself a follower of Jesus, then you better behave in a way that is going to equal what you're saying you are. Because what do we call those people that say they're a follower of Jesus and they act the very opposite? What is that magic word, Ryan?
The process of sanctification?
No, that is not the word. You did not. It's a simple word. What is a person that is not doing what they said they are doing? See, he's like, I know what Ryan's thinking, Lil. He's thinking when he does the sound and he hears all of the conversation, he's like, this is so easy. Why did they get it wrong? Because when the lights are on and I'm shouting, they're like,
is the word idiot?
no, that's a good one. Guys, it is.
What was the question again? I thought you were saying, what is the person that goes to be more in an action like Christ?
No, the person that calls himself a follower of Jesus, but does not behave as a follower of Jesus.
Yeah, good old hippopotamus.
Yes.
Good old hippopotamus.
Hypocrite.
Hippopotamus.
We're all of that because we all have the goal of being something and we're in process of. So I'm a hypocrite. I teach these things. I've lost my temper before and said stupid things, okay? And then I have to apologize. I think as a follower of Jesus, if you're not apologizing daily, either you're really like you are perfect, or you're not humbling yourself going, oh yeah, I got a list that I probably should apologize. You should be apologizing at least weekly, I think, as a follower of Jesus. That's my opinion. That's nowhere in the Bible. But
apologizing to
just people, because
people, Jesus, anyone and everyone.
Yeah, because we're missing the mark. Like, right? I'm sometimes react to you. I might roll my eyes. You might roll your eyes at me. There's a few times I think you should apologize to me, and you haven't yet. I'm just.
That's why I haven't been able to sleep at night.
Yeah. See, okay. So again, if you want to improve the quality of sleep, you don't need to drink more stuff. You need to take care and do business with the people you're angry with, because it's robbing your sleep. True story. So this is Paul again. Whatever happens. Whatever your story is, conduct yourself in a manner worthy of the gospel of Christ. Then, whether I come and see you or only hear about you in my absence, I will know you stand firm in one spirit, serving together as one for the faith of the gospel. He's just talking about unity. When we conduct ourselves in a manner of being a follower of Jesus, we bring people together. We are not tearing people apart. If you have a lot of broken relationships, I would not be pointing fingers at everybody else in situations. I would look at oneself and go, okay, hold on, am I being humble here? And just in case you're like, okay, what is humility? I don't like the definition our good friend Webster wrote in the dictionary of a modest or low view of oneself or own importance. I think here it is. This is my working definition. And it's kind of wordy, but here you go. We do not use others to benefit ourselves. This is a weird definition already. This is what humility is, or being humble. We do not use others to benefit ourselves. We offer ourselves to benefit others, to help them see and become all that God has created and called them to be. It's leveraging everything in my hands to help somebody else out. It's taking everything I own. How can I use it to help somebody out? Not, if you have this, I'm going to hold on to mentality. I'm not going to share. I don't want people to be able to use my. That's not humility. And if you want to begin to work on your hot temper or reacting versus responding, you need to have a healthy perspective of humility in yourself, leveraging what you have for others. And what is the greatest example of this? You saw it in that video, but if you come in late, hey, welcome to our YouTube channel. I'll reintroduce myself. My name is Scott Mendenhall. Absolutely love people, and I'm trying to do what I wrote there. Take everything I have, my skills, my knowledge. I'm trying to get smarter on technology. Why? To help other people, to serve other people. My house, I open it up to serve other people. My friends, I share my friends because they're awesome.
Yeah, we are.
Wow, that's not humility at all.
Wait, but we are awesome.
Yeah, you are. Yep, would you like?
I didn't say me. I said we.
Oh, Ryan, what we feel like when she said that?
I got a humility award.
There was
and
a
I put
connotation
and then I
involved.
wore it.
Yeah.
And then
There was
I
a
wore
connotation
it. So then I
involved.
got it taken away.
I think this is one of those moments that Lily, now see, look, you're leveraging up.
Is that bad?
Yeah, that's not humility. Yeah, thank you for the live interaction. Ryan's over there laughing. He's like, this is.
And scene.
And
That was all
scene.
staged.
Yeah. But again, she's to clarify. There's no like cameras are gonna get off. Go, Lily. No, that wasn't being. No, we're having a little bit of laugh here. There's no offense taken to what she's saying, and she's not actually not being humble. There's a bit of a joke there, and so we got to decipher the two of like, okay, is that her heart? No, she's not. We can look at Lily's character throughout the day and know, no, she serves heaps of other people. And the fact is if we look at somebody's life and we take one moment out, oh, that's being selfish in that moment. Yeah, so are you.
And we
so
need to talk about being judgmental.
Yeah, stop
then
doing
it's
that.
like, yeah.
Don't judge people. We're not called to judge people. Now, here's where you get lost in the weeds. I don't even want to get in the weeds, but there's a group that you can judge, and that's those that call themselves followers of Jesus. And if they're not behaving like fruit of Jesus, if they're not behaving like Jesus because they're not putting off Jesus quality fruits, then you go and talk to them. Go, hey, look, you're calling yourself a follower of Jesus, but there's no indication that you are producing the attitude of Jesus.
Yeah.
And okay, so here's where this is going to sum it all up with the triumphal entry, the Palm Sunday story. We're going to read it in its entirety from Mark. We're going to read Mark. Here's some side notes, insider information on Mark. Mark is a ghostwriter of Peter. Historians have found and learned that Peter was not an educated man. They think couldn't read and write, definitely couldn't read and write in the language of the day. And so he gets, I don't know if Mark's a good friend of his, but asks him to write out what he's going to tell him. Right? That's a ghostwriter, right, Ryan?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
a ghostwriter writes for somebody, but it's not the author.
Correct.
Do you have any books that you've read that it had ghostwriters?
Well, I mean, potentially Mark, right?
Yes, but not in the Bible, but any other books that you have read that you know that there was a ghostwriter? Or do most people not tell that there's a ghostwriter?
Yeah, I wouldn't know. Maybe I have, and I don't even know off the top of my head.
Isn't there a Nicolas Cage movie that's called that?
Ghostwriter?
Oh no, it's
Yeah,
Rider.
That's a Marvel superhero.
Yeah, that's a superhero. Not
So
even.
it's not Nicolas Cage?
No, Nicolas Cage is in what you're talking about. And I
What?
think it's called Ghostwriter. I think you have the name right.
Nicolas Cage is not actually Ghost Rider. He's an actor that has portrayed Ghost Rider.
Right. He's not writing a book at all in this story.
No, right, because it's not Ghost Rider, it's Rider, and I got it
No,
wrong.
it's called Ghostwriter.
I thought it was Rider. I can picture him on a
No,
motorcycle.
this is fun.
Wait,
I can
this is
picture
real
him on
fun.
a motorcycle.
He is.
So it's Rider, not Rider.
Darren in the studio is saying it is Ryder. Can we have a confirmation online?
I'm about to Google this.
You should. We want you to, again, crank up that humility there that you're leveraging your right over.
What?
Yeah.
It's Rider. It's like
And he's Ghost
It
Rider.
was never relevant to this conversation at all.
Yeah, he's Ghost Rider.
Yeah, but his
Ryder.
character is Ghost Rider.
Correct.
So it is relevant.
Okay.
Okay, thank you for the.
Totally
Okay, so back to Mark, a real ghostwriter. Peter dictates it to Mark. Mark writes it down. Therefore, we have the book of Mark that is telling the story from the vantage point of Peter, which is pretty cool because Peter is one of the disciples of Jesus. He was an eyewitness account. He was one of the three, the inner circle of the 12 disciples. He was around for a lot of other things, and we probably all can relate the most to Peter because he stuck his foot in his mouth so many times. Like, oh, I will never do that. And then you read a couple chapters later, he did what he said he'd never do. I do that all the time. It's just the way it goes. Okay, so Mark 11, verse 1, here it is. Jesus sent two of his disciples, saying to them, "Go to the village ahead of you, and just as you enter it, you will find a colt tied there, which no one has ever ridden. Untie it and bring it here." Now, if you're on the fence, if you're trying to be a naysayer of things written about Jesus, you're going to say, so Jesus is telling them to steal said colt, right? And now you'd read that, Ryan? Go take the colt.
I could potentially read it that way. Now with my current mindset, I don't know. I guess now it's like, well, everything belongs to him. He can take whatever he wants. He made it all.
Yes, this is correct. That is correct. But I get it. Some people would read that. Oh, so like, hey, go steal the colt. But they said, if anyone asks you, so he explains it real quick. A lot of times we just pull things out of the Bible just to have for our point, but we don't read the rest of the story. He goes, if anyone asks you, why are you doing this? The Lord needs it, and we'll send it back here shortly. So we're getting a colt that has never been ridden. Lily, have you ever rode a horse that's never been ridden before?
No. Oh my gosh.
Would you ever get on said horse?
That sounds dangerous.
So no, you would
No.
not. Okay, how about you, Ryan?
No.
Have you ever rode a horse that's never been ridden before?
Well, I've never rode a horse.
You've never rode
Rode
a
an
horse?
elephant.
That's cool.
Yeah, that's definitely way to one up it in the room. I've never rode a
Wow, so humble.
I don't.
Ryan's
feel-
trying to process that. It's not real. We're just having fun, Ryan. Okay. So he's rode an elephant. Didn't see that one coming. I have rode a horse. I used to, when I was younger, I worked at a horse barn and I broke in horses at times. Like you'd saddle
Was
them
it
up.
scary?
Yeah. You know how many times
Yeah.
I hit the ground? That's not soft ground. It doesn't matter how much sawdust you put in the arena when you're doing this, it still hurts. And you get kicked off. They kick every time you put a saddle on for the first time. It wasn't a very pleasant experience. I finally got tired of being kicked by said horses. And today's my, man, in this story, said is the word. I don't know why said horse is the thing right now. Why is
What?
that? I keep
Said?
saying said horse. Have you read said horse?
That's okay.
Yeah.
I'm
just,
tracking with you.
I'm catching. Okay. You just, one point is you don't just hop on something that's not been written before, but it's in the story. It's an important detail. I think that matters. If anyone asks, what are you doing? I need this for the Lord, and I will bring it right back. Verse 4. They went and found a colt outside in the street, tied at a doorway, and they untied it. Some people standing there asked, what are you doing untying that colt? They answered, as Jesus had told them to, and the people let him go. So they didn't steal it. They told him what was going on. Now they are borrowing an unbroken colt, just so we understand. They brought the colt to Jesus and threw their coats over it. He sat on it. Now, can you get a visual really quick for me when you're seeing this? We're a full-grown man. We're talking about a colt here.
Like a small donkey.
Yes, but colt is what? Ryan, your girlfriend has a horse. What would be a colt to a horse?
I was about to Google it because I don't know the answer.
Really? Education all over the place. Lily, what is a colt? You better Google it, Ryan.
I don't know.
No, you can't Google it. I can
A
see
colt
that you're
is
Googling.
a small It's so small. It's a small donkey.
It's a small
It's
donkey.
so
Hey,
small.
what I love there is that, like, I'm on her right-hand side. Did you see that look like, help me? I don't know. Oh. Okay,
Yeah,
Ryan.
I got it.
What
A colt is a young male donkey, which is less than 4 years of age.
That's literally what I just said.
Yeah, but-
However, that doesn't tell me much because how long do they live? Is 5 years their age? Because that's like,
No, they're
4/5.
probably like a normal lifespan of an animal. The emphasis is that. It's
Wait,
a
hold on.
you
small-
know, there's a
but you
wild
see-
range there.
Yeah, like mice are
Okay,
like
but we
very
really
short.
don't need to spend time on that. The emphasis is that it's a small horse, and it says a grown
Colt.
man riding
Donkey.
a very small,
Yes.
small,
There-
young
she knows the
male
point.
donkey.
So like, do you figure out?
Don't
Think
get
about how.
lost in the sauce, guys.
Think of how crazy Jesus has to look a little bit. Like, he isn't coming in a prestigious horse like an Arabian horse, all dialed up, and the hooves are coming up real high. It's a donkey, an adult man on a little donkey. Gotta look crazy. I mean, his feet are probably dragging on the ground. I mean, are you seeing what I'm saying? Like, when we talk about the attitude of Jesus, he could have come in with a massive triumphal entry of horns and like, I just picture Aladdin, right? With just this big old parade of elephants and exoticness coming into the city. He comes in riding a donkey that is a colt, a potentially 4-year-old animal. I think that's important. They answered as Jesus did. We know that part. Rode the colt in. Many people spread their cloaks on the road, while others spread branches out and they cut in the fields. So this is where we get the Palm Sunday bit, because now they're putting down the coats and the palm fronds, which is an indication of royalty. You do these things for people that are of prestigious backgrounds. It's a way of honoring. So the crowd knew that this just wasn't a servant or a servant, a slave. This is somebody of importance, though they're coming in very differently than a person of status. Those who went ahead and those who followed shouted, Hosanna, and blessed are those who come in the name of the Lord. Blessed is the coming kingdom of our father David. Hosanna in the highest heavens. Now, Hosanna means, and I think this is very important, Hosanna means save us now. So they're coming and say, save us now. The whole deal in that culture was the Jewish people felt very oppressed by the Roman Empire. They were looking for a king that would come rescue them from that tyranny, the treachery of the Roman Empire. And so they're like, save us now. But it's now switching into, as they learned about who Jesus is, hold on. This is the plan. This is the man, the Messiah who has been talked about for years. Jesus entered, this is the last part of Mark 11, verse 11. Jesus entered Jerusalem and went into the temple courts. He looked around at everything. But since he was already late, he went out to Bethany with the 12 disciples. Now, one thing I want to add to this that just brings this whole thing and pulls together the Old Testament and the New Testament in Zechariah 9:9. This is Zechariah writing hundreds of years before these events. Rejoice, O people of Zion. This is him foretelling the future. Shout in triumph, O people of Jerusalem. Look, your king is coming to you. He is righteous and he's victorious, yet he is humble, riding on a donkey's colt. They would be looking for their Messiah to ride into Jerusalem riding a colt. This matters in the miracle part of it, because yes, anyone, and I'm sure just like in our day and age, you always have people faking it, trying to be like they are something that they're not. Yes, somebody could have rode in the city and had an entourage on a donkey and proclaimed that they were God's one and only son. But they probably did it on a colt that's been broken in. The important part of the story is that the small miracle that most people overlook was it was a colt that had never been rode. Yet you don't read in the story of anybody's accounts that Jesus came in riding a wild steed, kicking people in the face. You don't. That's not in there. He's coming in humbly. The colt is riding. It's just not part of the narrative or the story here. I love when you can take the new and the old and see where it is. It fits in like a gear where it just falls into place, and you're like, oh, that's beautiful. And Zechariah talks about it, and it happens. So they knew who he was. Now, we've talked about humility. We've talked about had the attitude of Christ Jesus. And there's the example of one area where he could have. And it actually is warranted to come in as like the man. I mean, think about all the signs he did, the healings and the feeding of 4,000 and 5,000 people and many more other things he did that pointed to the truth of who he was. And people actually pushed him. You're awesome. You shouldn't be riding on a colt. Oh, you should be this. And he still yet remained below people. He took what he had in his hands and said, how can I serve other people? if we want to begin to work on our attitude and to be more like Jesus, then we got to work on our humility. And the best way to practice that is to look for opportunities today. In the next 24 hours, you'll have a chance to power down instead of powering up. When you are angry, you need to have a moment to power down instead of rev up. That's the thought today. I hope it makes sense to you. Thank you so much for giving us time. Lily, Ryan, thank you for being on the lights and allowing me to have a little bit of fun with you guys. You guys
It was
are awesome.
fun.
Yeah,
It was
this
fun.
is great.
It was fun to have all of you guys in the chat too. Thank you so much. We have Friday coming up next Sunday.
Friday's happening, Good Friday at 7 o'clock right here on the YouTube channel. Get your family around. We are going to do communion on Good Friday, so have some kind of bread and juice with you. We'll walk through what communion is, and if you don't have it in your hands at the time, we'll prepare you. Secondly, we have Easter, which is going to be such a fun Sunday. We're going to talk about what transpires this week on Good Friday, where he is crucified and all beaten and all those things. We'll talk about that portion on Friday. And then Easter, we're going to talk about why this matters. Why is this a big deal for humanity?
Yes.
That's what we're going to do. So we're pretty stoked about the week. You're not going to want to miss these things. So make time to hang with us on Friday. Come back on Easter. Don't forget to invite some friends and family for the Easter service at about 8:15 Central Time. You don't want to miss that. It's going to be such a great Sunday. It's going to be one of those celebration Sundays. We're gonna go off in here.
Yes.
It's gonna be
good.
It's gonna be pretty fun. And so that said, let me pray really quick. One of our fine people that are in the chats, and we can't give a name, but we're gonna pray for somebody that has been, based on the information that's given to us while we're here, taken to the hospital. They had an EKG and then sent to the hospital. We want to pray for them.
And then Kayla and her husband have COVID, so we should pray for them too.
I didn't know that. Yes, we'll pray for Kayla Lily, who was on 2 weeks ago. Kayla Lily, we need to have you back on when you get healthy. We have fixed audio issues, and we would love to be able to talk to you more clearly. Let's pray really quick. Jesus, right from the get-go, man, I put Kayla Lily and her husband in your hands, that the symptoms would be mild, that it would be a hiccup in life, that they would get over it very quickly, that the aches and pains would go away quickly, that there would be no lasting effects, that the symptoms of losing taste or any of those things would be very, very mild, that you would give them wisdom on how to handle the situation, and as they are spending time quarantined in some kind of capacity, that you would comfort them, and that they would have a community around them that would love on them and get them food and things that they might be able to need. Also, we put in your hands a young man that recently gave his life to you, that is having some physical complications at the moment, that you would be with the doctors, that you would give them wisdom, quick minds to be able to diagnose the problem so that there's no lasting effects physically. And may this be a moment in his life where he just feels your strength, your power, that this would be one of those confirmation moments of the decision he made a few weeks ago, that it'd be like, man, look at what God did. He showed up and showed off in this very moment. Calm his nerves. May he have peace. And then we shift the conversation here, God, to say thank you. Thank you for Jesus and his illustration of having an attitude of humility, not powering up, but powering down in most every circumstance. That it was always a response and not a reaction. May we begin to work on our tempers and our anger, and may we shift our thinking. And may we really remember and realize that it is 10% what happens to us and 90% how we react to it, that it's on us, that we control our attitudes. So give us the strength to trump the bad attitudes and the bad days and the scenarios and not take it out on other people. Jesus, we absolutely love you. Jesus, you are awesome. Thank you for your example. Thank you for what you did over 2,000 years ago, that we will remember all week long. Jesus, we absolutely love you in your name. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, everybody, for hanging with us. And we always transition at this time with upcoming events. We've given a list of them. One of the last things we will give to you on the other side of giving, we would love to thank everybody that is giving from online digital. We appreciate your resources. Now, you're not giving to us because of like, oh, this is a great like podcast thing. it's because of a response to what God asks us to do with our resources. I love what Ryan said earlier, that his mind had shifted a while ago on that. All things come from God. They are God's. And so when it's time to give resources, it's like, no, that's already God's. So we give you a chance to be faithful with your resources. Here on the screen is how you can do that. You can text with your smartphone or a phone. You can text the number 77977 with the word unlock, and that will unlock a whole bunch of ways to step in to give resources. You can do monthly, weekly. You can set up automatic giving, or just every week when we talk about this, you can give. And your generosity is helping us do amazing things with it. Obviously, we use it to spread the good news about Jesus. So thank you. You guys are amazing. And what we would love for you is we're looking for an opportunity, or if you're looking for an opportunity to come hang with us, we have a great opportunity. Lily, what is that opportunity this summer?
We do. We are putting on a summer camp, which is just going to be so much fun. It's one of my favorite things we do here at Unlock, and it is free for kids ages 4 through 12. And when we say free, the floodgates open and all the children in Minnesota come because we've had like hundreds of kids in the park.
In a park.
Big circus tent. It's so much fun. And we are bringing people in from all over the country, and you are invited to join to help or to register your kids. So that is July 18th through the 22nd. If you need information about lodging or anything like that, we have got it all figured out for where you can stay, and we got some good rates. So definitely message us on Instagram. I'll put our names in the chat here, but we'd love to have you come out.
Yeah, and that is like, we'll point you in the direction. You can book what you want. If you want a car, or you want one wheel all over the place, but it'd be awesome to have your help do the camp, looking at it as like a mission trip, serving the community as the whole church comes together. We already know of at least 2 families that are coming up this summer to be a part of summer camp on here. And so we'll let them tell you who they are. If they're coming, we won't, not yet at least, we'll not tell their names. But we're pretty stoked that some of you are saying yes to this. It's going to be a fun week to hang out in Minnesota together. So thank you so much for everything you guys are doing. Ryan, before you jump back on the soundboard, you want to say goodbye to everybody?
It was a real pleasure getting on here and being able to have a conversation with y'all. And yeah, just doing life. I really appreciate my Sundays.
Yeah,
and y'all are a part of that.
I can't wait to see your bookends. I'm sure other people will be excited to see what your bookends will be.
Oh yeah, get some bookends. I'll probably, maybe every time I'm sure every once in a great while on this thing, and I'll grow another book on here, and maybe I'll just have a new desk that
just
slowly comes across, cuts my chest off.
Yeah, people would probably love to know, like, next time you're on, what books are you reading? So I think that'd be a great thing to do. All right, Ryan, thank you so much. Lily, thank you so much.
Bye, everyone.
It's been a great Palm Sunday. We can't wait to see everybody on Easter. Have a wonderful week. And if you don't know this, we love you, and answer this question all week long. What does love require you to do? Because it requires us to do something. Bye, everybody.
Bye.